Hey, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Vandy Wellness Group training series. My name is Frank Vandy. I'm the co-owner of the Vandy Wellness Group, along with my beautiful bride, Catherine. Let me start this off by offering my congratulations to you for taking a great first step in learning how to start your own home-based business. Now, over the next few videos, we're going to show you an amazing way to build and grow a home-based business that once started, it's going to pay you a residual income for the rest of your life. And as we move through these videos, we're really going to get into the nuts and bolts of how you actually go about building your business. We're going to show you everything you need to know. In this video, we're going to provide you with the framework to understand why we're so excited about the business model we have in place. And then after that, we're going to show you the exact steps and the exact considerations we made in starting our business. In fact, if you join our team, whether directly through us or someone else who sent you here, we're going to provide you with a step-by-step plan to build your business. So now before we get started, I want to make sure that you have a pen and paper in front of you. And as we go through the information, I want you to write down what you see that you like, and then also what questions you have. We'll likely answer a lot of your questions as we go through the material, but I want you to keep a running log. If we do answer some of your questions, you can scratch it off your list. And if we don't answer your questions, you can cover it with the person who sent you to this video when you have your next follow-up call. All right, so let's get started. Now, tonight's webinar we like to call Owning Your Own Life. So a short time ago, Catherine and I had dinner with a mentor of ours, and we were, about halfway through his meal, and then he looked at both of us very seriously and said, "Hey, Frank and Catherine, have you guys ever considered what it would be like to own your own life?" And I'm guessing from the look, we probably had the deer in the headlight looks to us, because he said, "All right, hold, let me explain this to you. Every one of us has the same 24 hours in a day, right?" We agreed with that. And then he said, "Have you ever thought about how much time you have left in your day to do the things you really love to do when you subtract out all the time you spend sleeping, when you subtract out all the time you spend driving to work, when you subtract out all the time working, when you subtract out all the time you spend driving home from work, when you subtract out all the time you spend cooking, cleaning, shopping, taking care of bills, taking care of the kids, all those things in life. Have you ever considered how much time you have left over to do the things you really love to do?" And Catherine and I looked at each other and we said, "You know what, Bill? The honest answer is there are days where Catherine and I will start at 5 in the morning, and quite honestly, we won't finish with all the stuff that we have to do until 10:30 at night sometimes. We fall in bed exhausted." And he said, "Guys, you know what? That is the most common answer I've ever heard." But he said, "You know what? I don't think I really asked you the question right. What I should have asked you is, have you ever considered how much time you have left over to do the things you really love to do?" And he emphasized really and love. And he said, I want to challenge you guys here a bit for a second. I want you to talk this over, and I want you to tell me, if time and money weren't an object to you, what would you do? What would be the thing that you would most like to do? Now I'm going to go back over here and I'm going to eat my dinner. And when you guys are ready to give me an answer, let's talk again. So Catherine and I sat there and talked about it for a while. And Catherine then said, "Bill, the thing we would most love to do, if time and money were no object, we would love to travel with our kids." Now, we have 5 kids, so this is quite a statement. Um, what we would really love to do is go to places like Rome, Paris, Greece, Australia, and London, and just be there and experience those places with them and see the looks on their faces as they got to experience those places. If time and money were no object, that's what we would want to do. And Bill looked at us and said, "You know what, guys, that's a great ambitious goal. And can you see how that would take both time and money to be able to do that?" And he said, "If I could show you a way that working part-time, you could build a business that would give you the time and the money to go to Rome, to go to Paris, to go to Greece, to go to Australia, to go to London, would you be interested in hearing about it?" And I remember kind of laughing a little bit, and I said, "Well, yeah, of course, have to be idiots not to want to hear that, right?" So he then he raised his hand up, and a waitress came over and he said, "Hey, could you bring me a stack of napkins?" And over the next 20, 25 minutes or so, he laid out some concepts for us that really changed our thinking about how you can build wealth and how you can build a home-based business and really just doing it part-time. And we love to kind of we affectionately call those the napkin presentations, and they really laid the framework of the business that we're going to introduce you here tonight and a lot of the concepts that we're going to teach you. So what I'd like to do is, so the first thing that he walked us through is, a quick example. He said, if you had two friends and the first friend earned 150,000 a year and the second friend earned 125,000 a year, which friend would you rather be? And of course we said, friend one, we'd like to earn the 150,000. And he said, but then what if I told you that to earn that $150,000 a year, one had to put in 60 hours a week. And on top of that, he had a mountain of debt, so that by the time he finished paying his bills, um, he he really had no money left over to do anything that he wanted to do. Friend two, who earned $125,000 a year, only worked 10 hours a week, and he really had no debt to speak of, right? So pretty much what he had left was his to do with what he wanted to do. Now, which friend would you rather be? And we said, okay, yeah, we get it. That we'd rather be friend two. And he goes, guys, that's what owning your own life looks like. To have both the time and money to do the things you want to do. So what I'd like to do, for those of you on the webinar here tonight, we're gonna pause a little bit here in a second. And for those of you on the video, I'd like you to, as soon as I get finished with this, I'd like you to pause the video and do this for us. The thing I want you to take away from these first couple slides is the business we're going to talk to you about is about owning your own life. It's not about time, it's not about money. It's about having the freedom to do the things you love to do. So here's what I'd like you to do. In a second, I want you to hit pause on this video, or we're going to pause. And then I want you to spend at least 15 minutes dreaming. I want you to dream about what you would do if you owned your own life. Don't limit yourself. I want you to search your heart. This is your dream. Money is not a factor in your dream. Time is not a factor in your dream. Remember, you own your own life. I want you to reach for the stars and then pull them in. When you have your dream clear in your mind, I want you to write it down and commit it to paper. I then want you to put it somewhere you can see it, somewhere you can feel it, somewhere you can touch it every single day. When you've committed this to paper, I want you to come back to this video series and join us for the next section. All right, guys. Welcome back to the next section here on owning your own life. I hope you enjoyed that exercise and you have some great examples of what you would do when you own your own life. And I hope that we get to talk to each of you guys about this and we can help make those a reality for you. So um, I want to start out to tell you. So let's go back to the dinner with our mentor. So he grabbed the next set of napkins and he said, let's start out about talking about the typical ways most people go about earning a living. And as we go through each of these different ways of earning a living, I want you to look at each of them through the lens of owning your own life. In other words, as we talk about each of these ways of making a living, I want you to think to yourself, do they provide you with enough time and money to own your own life? And I'm going to ask you guys to do the same. So the first way that people typically go about earning a living in our country and around the world is they get a job. A lot of times we're taught, hey, go out and get your education. And go get a good job and earn a living. And in the past, it was a pretty effective way to go about earning a living. Typically, up until the last 20 years or so, people would work for a company, oftentimes for 40 years or more. And they retired, maybe not like kings, but they typically retire with a good pension and a lot of other benefits that made their retirement pretty profitable. Today, things are very different, though, right? There's really no loyalty with companies. And quite honestly, you are just as likely to get let go in a downsizing effort as you are to get a promotion. Other downsides for getting a job today, those jobs are very highly competitive. They're very difficult environments to work in. You really are on a fixed income whether you realize it or not because you're limited by what your boss makes. There are very, very few environments that we can name where you can earn more money than your boss does. There are a couple places maybe in a couple sales organizations, athletics, movies, but very few. So you're typically never going to make more than your boss makes. Other downsides is you don't get to choose who you work with, and you don't get to choose who you work for. So, the company really decides that for you. And quite often, you don't even get to choose what you work on. And, you know, more and more, you work a ton of hours, sometimes 60, 70, 80 hours a week to maintain that job. But I think it's pretty clear by looking at that. A typical job is you really don't own your own life. Another way that people often, try to make money is they start their own brick and mortar business. And by brick and mortar business, I would talk about, let's use in a restaurant or as a store as an example. Um, to start one of these types of business takes a huge capital investment. Quite often, you have to get a space to hold your business. There's money to remodel. There's a lot of money that's got to go into payroll, insurance, and we could go on and on. There's a lot of specialized skills you need to understand. The business you're in, you need to be able to understand how to do that. You also need to understand how to manage people, you need to understand finance, accounting, and a ton of legal, a ton of specialized skills. Again, a lot of long hours. If you own your own business like a restaurant, plan on spending 60, 70 hours a week there and really working through that. And it's a huge risk. You find out that you've heard the adage, and it's true that most small businesses go out of business within the first year. So you can put all this money and time into it and find yourself out of business in a year. So again, I think if you look at from a time and money standpoint, do you own your own life when you run your own business? The answer would have to be no. Another way that people really look to make money in this country is they start a franchise. Now, while it does cut down on some of the risk that we talked about in the last slide when you own your own business, it's not risk free. More and more we're driving around and we see franchises that are out of business. Burger King, Wendy's, all these different places that have gone out of business. So it's not a guarantee of success. Again, an even bigger capital investment. The average franchise fee runs somewhere between $30,000 and up to $1 million for a specific franchise. Again, same level of specialized skills needed and long, long hours. So again, do you own your own life? Sadly, no, you don't. So here's why this is so important, guys. A recent study was done by the Social Security Administration, and the study showed that for every person who works 45 years or more, 62% are still working when they retire, and 20% are broke and relying on Social Security, and 5% are dead. I mean, these are terrible numbers, right? So if you add this up, this is 95% of the population who work for 45 years or more can't afford to retire. The next section is that 1% of the people are rich. So guys, if that's you, if you fall in that category, congratulations. And you probably don't need to watch the rest of this video series. But for the rest of us, and we find out that the 4% who become financially independent start their own business, and that's why what we're going to be showing you here in the next few minutes is so important. So the question I want you to ask is, whose business are you building, right? Do you want to be down here building somebody else's business, or do you want to be up here in the 4% who become financially independent and build your own business? All right, so let's talk about a typical supply chain, and I understand this very well because, guys, quite honestly, I did this for, in corporate America for 25 years, and this is typically how products get moved in our country. It starts out with raw materials. So let's use Procter and Gamble, and let's use Tide as an example. Okay, so it starts out with raw materials. Procter and Gamble buys these raw materials, so there's a cost for the goods, the raw materials, and then they get put on a truck and they get shipped in from all these different suppliers into a factory that Procter and Gamble owns. So there's all this cost for the merchandise and all this transportation. Procter and Gamble then takes that and creates the product in their factories, and then the packaging. So all the costs for the factory, all the equipment that goes in there, all the people that are in there, um, all the packaging that they have to do to create this product. They then take, so more cost here. They then take it and put it on a truck. That truck then goes into, we'll use Walmart as an example. So it goes into a Walmart distribution center, right? So you have the cost for the transportation. Walmart then stores it in this very large and expensive distribution center with all these people in here and all that cost until their stores need it. Then they pick it from their inventory. they put it on another truck, and it then goes out to the Walmart store where there's a whole another group of people in the store that they have to pay for. So you've got all that expense, and oh, by the way, all the time Procter and Gamble and Walmart are spending money on advertising. So you can see this is a very, very expensive way to get product to market. Now there's companies out there that have decided to forego that completely, and what they've done is they have gone towards what's called a direct distributor network. And this is what we're going to talk to you about really in depth as we go through this training series. So rather than go through that whole expensive supply chain, there are companies out there that take the product that they create, and you then become a distributor, and you find customers, and you find other distributors who then go out and find other distributors and other customers. And they pay you for doing this directly. So all that money that went into that old supply chain now goes into your pocket and the pocket of your other distributors. And you get paid for all this activity. Now, for those of you guys are hearing customers and distributors, I want you to, everyone just, we're going to take a deep breath and relax here, because we are going to show you, well, first of all, we're going to show you a way that there is absolutely no selling. We're going to show you a way to attract people to your business, both customers and other distributors, where they're going to be, in some cases, practically begging you for help, right? And we're going to show you exactly step by step before the end of this video series how to do that. So just put that in the back of your mind as you listen to it, because I don't want to lose any of you guys as we go through some of the examples. So again, no selling. We're going to show you a step-by-step method where you can go out and have people really coming to you and asking you, to become either a distributor or a customer. So as we got through this, our mentor grabbed a couple napkins, a couple more, and said, and he wrote down the two phrases. One said leverage and the other one said residual income. And then he said, guys, if you can understand these two concepts that I'm about to teach you, it's going to change the way you look at building wealth forever. If you understand these two concepts, you'll never have to worry about owning your own life again. If you understand these two simple concepts, the time and money you want is going to be yours. But then he said, let me warn you, if you don't get these two concepts, you're likely to end up like the 95% of Americans who are doomed to end up broke when they retire. I remember thinking, holy smokes, talk about pressure. My mentor, the man who had taught me so much, had just told us that in the next 5 minutes of my life might prove to be the turning point of being the 5% who can live a comfortable life and the 95% who don't. Well, you can imagine that got my attention. So, and I'm going to tell you the same thing. If you can stick with me for the next 5 minutes or so, it's likely that you will never think about the way you make money and build a business again. For those of you who watch the next 5 minutes and say to yourself, I get it, it's likely that you're going to have a hard time sleeping tonight. Your mind will be so wrapped up in the possibilities and picture yourself living your own life that you may want to hit pause on this video and call the person who sent you this video and tell them you're ready to get started right now. It's that powerful. I know that these two concepts change the way I think about building a business forever. Okay, so as you can see from the chart above, the first concept we'll talk about is called leverage. And it's just simply, how do you make money from the work of other people, right? And you see big businesses do that all the time. They hire people at all different levels and they pay them and they make a profit based on the work that those people do. And the second one is called residual income, and that's simply getting paid today or for a long time based on the work you do today. And when you combine these two concepts into one, leverage, using the work of other people to generate wealth for you, and then residual income, so the work that you do today you get paid for long periods of time. When you combine these two concepts, you have an amazing wealth building home-based business, and that's what we're going to show you. So what we did is we create, for this example, we've created a fictitious company. It's called the ABC company. Okay, guys? And this really is a fictitious company, but I thought it was important to put some numbers to this and show you some examples of how this worked so you could get a better idea. So in the ABC company, you're going to get paid for 3 levels of commission, and it's going to be a lot more clear when I show you the next slide. But so at level 1, and those are for the customer, your direct customers. And again, guys, we're going to show you step by step how to get customers and distributors to where they were really knocking on your door. But at level 1, you get a 20% commission. And at level 2, a 7% commission. And at level 3, a 3% commission. Okay, and in our example, every single customer spends $150 in our example, and the average distributor has 20 customers. So let's talk about the first example. When you first get started in this business, it's going to be just you, and this is level one, right? And so if you remember, each distributor has 20 customers, and they each spend $150 a month on top. So that's a $3,000 a month worth of revenue that you're producing. If you remember from the last slide, at level one, there's a 20% commission rate. So on that, so if you multiply 3,000 times 20%, you get $600 per month, or $7,200 per month. Okay, and while you think maybe that's not a ton of money, to get $600,000 a month in an average savings account, you would need somewhere between $30,000 and $50,000 in a savings account. So $600 a month, just for this simple little process of getting 20 customers in that we'll show you how to do, you're making $600 a month. But let's go a little bit further. Let's say that you go out and you find 4 people who are willing to do what you do, and that is go out and find 20 customers, right? So in this example, you still have your 20 customers, right? So then you're still generating $3,000 a month, but now these 4 people also have 20 customers. That's another $12,000 a month. So now your organization is generating $15,000 a month. The 3,000 a month times 20%, just like we did in the last slide, is $600 per month still. But now if you take this 12% and multiply it for times 7%, because this is level 2 here, right? That's an additional $840 per month. If you add the 840 and the 600, your income is now $1,440 per month. And that equals over $17,000 a year. And all you did, and guys, we're going to show you exactly great ways to do this, is find 4 people. We're going to show you ways to do this on the internet. We're going to show you ways to do this in person. Guys, if you go out and work this, you will find 4 people who are willing to come join you and do the business and go through the same exact process that you're doing right now. Matter of fact, this video that you're watching here is all part of the system. All right, so let's go to another level deep. So now that you found 4, your job is now to train these 4 in again, we're going to show you how to do this, and we're going to show you an exact step-by-step system, and then all you're going to do is train those 4 people, and we're going to work with you, and you're going to train these 4 people to do the same thing, to go out and find 4 more people. Each of those 4 people then go out and find 4. That's 16 people, new people in your organization. You're still generating your 3,000. There's the first level 2 is still generating their 12,000, but now this level 3, these new 4 people, they each have 20 customers times that same $150 a month. They're generating $48,000 in your organization, right? This $48,000, because it's level 3 and below, is at 3% commission, and that is generating $1,440. Level 2 is still generating the same 840, and you're still generating the same 600. And now you're at almost $2,600 per month, which is an additional just under $31,000 a year. And all you did was go and find those same 4 people. You don't have to go out and find 100. You found 4. And then you work with them and train them so that they can do the same. All they got to do is go out and find 4. All right, so when you look back, that's a 430% increase versus doing this yourself. So let's go to the next level. Same thing. Now that those 4 people, those 16 are there, then you've already trained them, right? So they are going to take the same training method that we teach you, the same system, right? This 5-minute call, 5-10-minute call. Get them to this video series, let this video series explain it to them, and then answer their questions at the end. They're going to take that system that we're going to really walk you through here later, and they're going to go out and each find just 4 people. Again, you've only found 4, and they found 4, and they found 4. That gives you 64 people in your organization. Now your total at level 3, because you've got these 16 plus another 64 at level 3 and below. It does say level 4 here, guys, but it should be level 3. And it's really the 4th level, but the 3rd level on the commission. So 3rd and below generates $240,000 total at 3%. Now it's at just that level is $7,200 per month. Level 2 is still at $840, and you're still at 600. Now you're at $8,600 per month, and you're making over almost $104,000 per year. All right, let's go through one more level here, guys. So again, now those 64 people go out and find four each. So you've trained your four, who then go out and find four. Then they train their four, and then they train their four. So, and maybe you act as a consultant, or we help you, to answer any questions. But you've really found four and trained those four, right? Level 3 and below is now over $1 million in total revenue for the month. And that's $23,000 a month in commission, plus the 840 from your level 2, plus your 600. That leaves you just under $25,000 a month and just under $300,000 per year. Again, just for finding these four. And I want to make a point here, guys. When I talk about going out and finding four, you're finding one at a time. So your goal is always just to find one. And if you sat down right now and made a list of people that you could send to this video and let us explain what a great business this is, how many people do you think would be interested in that? How many people do you think you know in your life that would love to earn $600 a month, $840 a month, or maybe $300,000 a month, you guys? Because it can still keep growing from here. We're going to limit this as an example. But how many people would this be life-changing for? That all you'd have to do is say, "Hey, I got a business opportunity that I'm involved in. Would you?" Where I'm making some good money, would you be interested in learning more about it? And then bringing them to this video series and letting us talk to them. Do you think you know people in there? We know a lot of people that'd be life changing. Even at $600 a month, it would be life changing. So again, now we're at like a 4,000% increase in this. So all right, so here's the bottom line. By using the power of leverage, is what we just saw, and building a deep distributor network, you can build a home-based business that pays you a fantastic residual income for many years. So here's the cool thing, guys. The company that we're going to talk to you about, the average customer stays with that company for over 17 years. So that's what the residual piece is. So what we've really walked you through here is kind of how you leverage other people's work. Remember, you just found four, and then they go out and do work, and then they go out and do work, and then they go out and do work. That is the leverage piece. The residual income is that the average customer in the company that we deal with stays there 17 years. So you are making money on your 20 customers for 17 years, and your level 2's customers for 20 years, or 17 years. Level 3 and below, all their customers for the next 17 years. That's when, like I said, if you start to understand that, it gets incredibly exciting. And if you remember back to our first slide, all you had to do was find 20 customers and then 4 distributors who are willing to do the same thing you've been doing. If you're part of our team, we're going to provide you with a simple and effective training program that will show you exactly how to find customers and how to find distributors. Once you have customers and distributors in place, it's your job to hand our training program to your distributors and then mentor and coach them as you were mentored and coached, so that they can follow our system to find their 20 customers and their 4 distributors. They will then use our system to train and mentor their team and go out and then they're going to train them to go out and do the same. So let's go back to our original discussion about owning your own life. Do you remember how we said that owning your own life meant not having enough time and money to do the things you really love to do? The great thing about what we just showed you is you can build this at whatever pace and in whatever time you want. If you join our team and say, "Frank, I have 5 hours a week I can dedicate to this," then spend those 5 hours, follow our system, and get out and work in it. And I promise you, you will eventually hit the numbers that you want to hit to generate the money you can. Now, it might take you longer because you're only spending those 5 hours, but you will eventually get there. If you have 30 hours a week or 40 hours a week because you've got time right now, then spend that time and you'll build this much more quickly. But once you get to the level of finding those 4 distributors who are willing to go out and do the same, your time commitment changes dramatically to becoming that of a coach and a mentor, and you will really find, and your income level goes up. So you will find that you have both the time and money. Yeah. So looking at the slides, it's obvious that building a deep distributor network like the one we just discussed can take care of the money part of that equation, and it can take care of the time part of the equation. So it really is about owning your own life. So again, Here is the slide to talk again. What we had talked about is residual wealth. The company that we're going to talk to you about here, guys, 17 years the average customer stays with, and it's getting longer. It used to be 15, now it's 17. So customers stay with this company because they have great products on top of this great plan that we've just showed you here. So my mentor said, I want to ask you guys one more thing. He said, do you guys understand the concept? And we nodded pretty anxiously. And he said, I want you to take a moment here and I want you to take your turn to write on the napkin. And I want you to write down 4 things that if you were going to join a company that offered this type of business as a model, this deep distributor network where you could go out and build it, write down the top 4 things that you would be looking for in a company. And we said, well, you know what? The first thing we'd look for is we'd want to work with a company that's been in business a long time, right? And what we wouldn't want to do is go out and do all this work only to find that the company, wasn't solid and that they went out of business. So we'd want, a company that's been in business 20, 25 years or more. We'd also want quality, products that had quality testing to them, because we want to feel good about recommending them to people that we know. We want to make sure that they're safe and effective. And then, as we just said, we want effective products. We want that there's science and testimonies to prove that these products, really do change people's lives. And then finally, we really want a great compensation plan, so that at the end of the day, we're doing this business to make money. And our mentor looked at the list. He said, guys, that's a perfect list. I mean, that's exactly the 4 things you want to consider. He goes, I want to introduce you guys to a guy named Rick Seymour. Now, Rick's been a consultant in the health and wellness industry for almost 40 years, and he's built an amazing distributor-based business with a company called Shackley, just like what you're looking to do. And I think you're going to want to hear what Rick has to say. So shortly thereafter, we met with Rick and we learned about Shackley. And by the time we were done with Rick, we knew that Shackley was a company that we wanted to partner with. So, you know what? Rather than going into a lot of details about what Rick covered with us, we're going to let you hear it directly from Rick. So in the next video, Rick's going to give you insight into the health and wellness industry, and he's going to show you why partnering with Shackley is a great decision. Again, make sure that you have a pen and paper with you next to you so you can take notes, and again, write down the things you liked and whatever questions that you might have. And once you're done with that video, we're going to come back and we're going to have another webinar/video here for you, and we're going to recap everything you've learned, and then we're going to get into the details, some really exciting details around an exclusive training program and system that we've created, that's been created by our team, just for the people on our team. That's again going to show you step by step what everything you need to do from the moment you join our team, and teach you how to go out and find those 20 customers and those distributors and really build a great home-based business. Guys, you're going to be so excited when you get to see it. So first of all, I want to say thank you again for being here on this webinar. Congratulations taking this first step at building a great home business. I hope you enjoy Rick's video, and then we're going to see you in the next video. Again, once you're done with Rick's video, we're going to rejoin you and show you some highlights and the key points that we've covered here. We're going to recap it again just so you make sure you understand it, and then we're going to recover what Rick talked to you about, and then we're going to get into the details around the training system. So until then, God bless and enjoy your time with Rick.